The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk Careers with Sara on Armed Radio Global. Tonight's topic is going to be about resume. Is resume important? Is resume essential? And if it is, how can you land a job with a perfect resume? For those who are listening to me for the first time, I am Sara, and I'm here every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on air on Armed Radio Global. And if you would like to listen to my previous shows, you can find them on Spreaker.com, on iHeartRadio.com, and as well, it's all posted on my Facebook, Let's Talk Careers with Sara radio show. If you would like to join my group on Facebook, it's called Let's Talk Careers Inner Circle. And I also can be reached via email, Let's Talk Careers with Sarah@gmail.com. Now, for tonight's topic is going to be about resumes. And I have a lot who have messaged me to ask for help with their resume. And, it shows a great deal for having a resume is actually really important because whatever job you are applying for, resume is essential. So what is a resume? Let's say you are a graduate student and you don't know what is a resume. Let's say you are an immigrant and you don't know what is a resume. So a good resume goes a long way. Now, to write a resume is known as a job resume. And a resume is a brief written summary of a job applicant's past employment history, education, and other pertinent information. The term resume is used primarily in America, where it has taken the place of the Latin expression curriculum vitae or CV. Now, how a resume is used? Resumes are used to make a favorable impression on prospective employer. Your resume is often the first impression a potential employer has of you. For this reason, it is often referred to as one of the most crucial steps taken during a job search. Now, let's ask ourselves, why is a resume important? Without a favorable initial impression, a prospective employer is likely to stop considering you as a suitable candidate for the job on offer and move on to other candidates who have provided better resumes. Think of a resume as a tool for marketing yourself. It's more than just a document. It outlines your background, your skills, and your education so that a potential employer is quickly and easily able to see how your individual experiences can contribute to a company's success. If you have never written a resume, don't worry. I am a resume writer and I help job seekers to excel at their job interviews, to excel at their job search. I help them with $1 million resume. That's how one client has actually described me, that I'm writing like $1 million resume, that he for sure got a job. As soon as you are submitting a resume, your resume stands out. I create it in a way that it lays out in a super natural, beautiful way, that it is so professional very crisp, with the proper keywords, with the proper words, with the proper titles that you actually need. And I am really up to date, so I myself recruit people for the job, and I myself know what exactly others are looking for, what exactly that HR is looking for, what is the director looking for, what is the hospital looking for, what is any job type is looking for. They want to see a name that is bold, that is big, that is identifiable, that has the proper funding. And next to the name, you need to have your title. This nobody does, unfortunately, and this is only I know how to do it. So next, and of course now you know too, because I'm giving you the secret. So next to your name, you need to have your title. So every time when I write a title, they say to me, the candidates that I actually write for them, they say, I feel like I'm a doctor. Like you have your name on it, and next to it is MD, but instead of MD, I put IT, or I put TA, or I write MSED, that's for educational, or I write OT, PT, any type of title that you are applying for. This needs to be next to your name, bolded, the same size font, and the same color font. Nothing can be changed. I do play with colors. I do add some colors because when you print, yes, it's going to be black and white. Most recruiters are going to print black and white. They're not going to print in colors. The reason that I am doing it in colors is it's going to be shown on the website as soon as you upload your resume, and B, you are going to walk in with a colored resume, not a black and white. I have had a candidate who would walk into my office, and I would print her resume. Now it's from Indeed.com. What Indeed does is no matter what the layout is, no matter how you write it, their system automatically makes it uniform, meaning that your resume looks the same like the next candidate and the next candidate and the next candidate. It's not changed. So one time I'm interviewing a candidate, and she actually tells me about herself, and I told her, your resume that I have in front of me on Indeed, it's not the same what you're telling me right now. So do you have an updated resume? And she said, yes, she has an updated resume. She came prepared, which is good. And when she handed me her resume was very professional. It had the layout, it had the proper funding, it had the right alignment. Nothing was the same as the Indeed. And she looked at what I have on my desk, and she said, oh, this is something that she uploaded about 6 years ago. It's not the same, it's not the recent one. So she doesn't know what happened, why Indeed did not update that. But regardless, no matter what, she still ended up having an interview with me. She still got a foot on the door, which is very surprisingly that it's going to happen to any of you. But she got lucky. She got interview with me. So come prepared. And beyond the resume, I go over the portfolio. One step at a time. If you are sending a resume and you still do not get a job, do not get an interview, then there has to be plan B. So majority do not need a portfolio because they get a job through their resume. But if you are still struggling, let's say you have a job that pays $100K a year, $200K a year, $250K a year, okay? A resume alone is not sufficient. That means if you are a candidate who is going to get paid such a high salary, You have to do better than that. You have to do more than you are actually going to do the average person does. The average person does is just sending a resume, okay? That's why they're getting average pay. But if you want to be a high standard, high salary, then you have to go beyond what the average person does. And I always say, you go with the portfolio to the interview. You got a job through the resume, that's a check plus. You go with a portfolio. A portfolio contains more than what you actually going to need. And that means it's a binder. And the binder has a cover page with your name on it, with your contact information, with all your social links where you are, your profile is there. Anything that they need to know to see you, that's going to be in the cover page. The second page will be table of contents. This is going to get a little bit complicated because what I'm saying is a little bit, you need to sit down with me in order for me to help you, guide you through it. And then on the third page, it's going to be about your mission, your career mission. What is exactly drives you to that kind of position? What is exactly you're looking to get ahead in your career goals? The fourth page is going to be resume. The fifth page is going to be your cover letter. The sixth page is going to be your 3 reference letters from your colleagues, from your boss, from your supervisor, from your manager. 3 references. Okay, and then you have all your proven performance. Okay, performance assessment that they have conducted you in yearly evaluation, your quarterly evaluation. If you are a salesperson, okay, you need to show proven track record that you are actually exceeding the sales quota. So let's say you have to have 30 accounts open every 3 months, then you are actually showing you open 30 accounts every 3 months. But if you have exceeded much more, let's say you open 35 accounts every 3 months, then that means you are an exceptional salesperson and you can do it. With this track record, especially that you are showing it with charts, with the pie graphs, then that shows you are actually somebody who is computer savvy, who is communication savvy, who knows how to write properly and read charts properly. That shows you are better than other candidates out there who don't do that, who just do the talk but don't walk the talk. You know, you are actually on that first impression, you're doing your presentation, and that presentation skills that you have is going to get you the job that you want. And especially if you heard my last 3 weeks show that I've spoken about salary raise and how you negotiate your salary at the interview. Yes, at the interview, you already start negotiating your salary. Once you know your worth, once you know how much you are valuable, once you know that you're so confident and they can see it and they get intimidated by you. And when they get intimidated by you, they want you. If they see you are getting intimidated by them, that's a flag because they need a personality that has the will to do the job without being scared, without being shy. So a resume is important, but to have a portfolio for a higher job is even greater chance for you to get a job. So thinking about this is really something that you think should about. And I know I have people who have master's degree, who have bachelor's degree, master's degree. They come to me with their old resume, and their old resume looks fine. It looks like professionally done. And they would tell me, I had never in my life wrote a resume because I know how important it is for me to get a job. If I screw it, I'm losing my opportunity to get the job. And I don't want my next candidate to get the job instead of me. So they always hired a professional resume writer. And when they come to me, They did not have to change everything. All they had to do for me, like they told me, is just to add the recent job that they're doing right now. That's all, just to add. And this is something that is lifetime. When I say lifetime, that means your investment is not going to trash. It's not one-time pay and that's it, and you got a resume. It's not one-time pay. Say, okay, I got a job. What am I going to do with that resume that I paid? You know, whether it's 150, 250, 650.
Hello, this is Sara Yusupov. Stop by my show, Let's Talk Careers with Sarah, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, where I will discuss about your dream job, career coaching, answering your questions regarding careers, exclusively on TuneIn Satellite and the Armed Radio Global Networks.
Now, this applies also for college students who are struggling to get a job after they graduate. Majority of the jobs require some experience, but for those who have not have real time experience, meaning that they work to get paid, you might think that how am I gonna get experience if I just graduated? How they don't give me a chance in order for me to get the experience. And I remember when I was graduating from my undergrad, and I felt the same way, but I did a little bit smarter. I went to jobs that were not paying well, and I went to jobs that were actually not flexible. I just had to do whatever I had to do just to get the experience. But for some people, I just say that if you want to get experience, there is experience in your lifetime that you did work, perhaps unofficially, but you did actually work. You do have experience, whether you did a volunteer, whether you helped your friend, whether you helped your family. Let's say you are an accountant, right? You finish your accounting and now you're struggling because you don't have experience, but you do remember doing bookkeeping for your father, or doing bookkeeping for your cousin, or doing bookkeeping for your uncle, and it was all unofficial. You were not getting paid for it, but that is an experience. And let's say assume that you are having a different job, let's say teaching. You don't have experience. However, teaching is not a problem. Teaching, they will accept you as long as you have the credentials, meaning you are certified, you have a degree, and they will just accept you in the blink of an eye. No experience necessary. But some jobs do need to have experience. Salesperson, I know they don't need experience in order to get a job. Majority ask for 2-3 years experience, but that's for a higher salary. But other than that, it shouldn't be a problem. I know a candidate who had, like I said before, she came from Israel. She had her degree evaluated. She had experience in her country. But, when she came here, her credentials, her evaluated degree is sufficient enough to get a job. She had no experience here, but she is a nurse and it's on demand. Most do ask experience. Who doesn't want to have an experienced person coming on board and just working? You are spending less time on training and more time on production. Same thing here. So now I know some candidates are feeling stuck in their careers because they feel that they don't like what they are doing, but the salary comes every 2 weeks and the hours are okay. They would like to stay more. They would like to get more vacation, more benefits, but they feel, how am I gonna get a job if I don't have a degree, if I don't have an experience doing XYZ? And I had a candidate who had just a high school diploma, and she was saying, like, where am I gonna get a job? Everywhere I go, they ask for high school diploma, but I'm not gonna get paid more than what I get paid now, but I hate my job. I just don't like. And she was working in a daycare. She's like, I don't like working with kids. And that's scary, because if you don't like working with kids, do you know who is suffering? It's not you, it's the kids, because you're showing attitude, you're showing negativity, and parents see it, and then everybody, you're getting write-ups. You don't want to get into that situation, because you want to have recommendations, reference letters from your colleagues, from your boss, from your supervisor, from your director. You don't want to have somebody saying, I don't think I can write for you a reference letter. You don't want to be in a position to be fired, but you're still working and doing your job. So if you feel that you're stuck, then you need to evaluate what exactly you have in you, like what skills do you have, right? Take a piece of paper and write down all your hobbies and all your skills, and see how you can work. So for me, for example, as I did it, I like writing, and I like writing resumes. I'm very good at it, because every time I write a resume for myself, I get a job in an instant. I just nail that interview. I just have it in me. So for me, that kind of skill is just helping others to get unstuck in their careers and to get their dream jobs. So this what you should be supposed to think. What are you good at? Are you good in social media? Are you on Facebook all day? Are you on Instagram all day? Maybe you're good as a social media manager. Maybe you can work for someone for a company who needs social media manager. You might say, I don't have a real job working as a social media. I never got paid for it. But you do have experience. You are doing it every single day. You write emails. So you have some writing skills there. You like taking pictures, selfies. You can just, have some for social media. You don't need to have that professional images, but if you have that in you. Computer, are you good in computers? Are you doing the research? Are you good at typing, doing something, maybe designing? There are so many things that a person individually can sit down with me, and I can really check out all the skills that you have and put them on paper that you never thought that actually you can have earned money for it. Then I would also suggest to have networking. Now, you don't have to go to a place that is called networking. You don't have to go to conferences for that. Networking means that you are constantly talking to people, constantly doing, seeing people in and out, and you're talking about yourself, introducing yourself, getting to know the other person. I met somebody on Saturday, and I've seen this woman for a while, and I just started a conversation asking her about her kids, asking her about her, like a warm-up conversation, asking more what we have in common, talking about her age, where she lives, and then what she does. And she told me she works in community aid. Community aid is, like she explained to me, it's a domestic violence prevention, helping families who are having domestic violence. And I told her, that's a very depressing job. And she said, no, it's actually, she got used to it, and she's not really taking anything personally. And I asked her, did she have a degree for it? Because for me, as a career coach, as a career counselor, I need to know these things. And she told me no, she doesn't have a degree. She only has a high school diploma. And the only way she got this job was through somebody. She couldn't get a job just like that. Somebody that works for the city had actually guided her what she needs to do. It's not just a simple application. You need to take exams. And those exams are basically the way the system works for the city is just you need to take an exam, and then after that exam, if you passed, you are put on the list, and then list by list they're calling for interviews, and then they see and feel exactly where you fit. Now, I personally don't like to work for the city, and I would never do, because I feel for the city it's a really big responsibility. You have to be committed to certain hours, to certain schedule, and for me it just doesn't work. Having kids around the house is just not my priority. But for some, maybe for you, maybe for your husband, maybe for your girlfriend, maybe for your wife, might be suitable because you are flexible. You have the schedule in mind that you are flexible to work anytime. You are flexible to work overtime. You are flexible to work on weekends. You are flexible to work overnight shifts. So if you are, then go for it. But you need to know somebody. You need to know somebody to get into these jobs. And it doesn't matter how your resume is going to look like if you don't know anybody that can actually recommend you. And with the city, if you have somebody working in the city, so for them, that's the priority, that they can just choose whatever. So that's one way. But networking is very essential. Sometimes I say also, when you're networking, it doesn't have to be exactly when you are looking for a job. Networking can be when you just got a new job and you still network, you still get to know people. Because maybe now you're comfortable where you are, you're comfortable with the salary, and tomorrow, or maybe 10 years from now, you might need to switch a job. Maybe it's got boring for you, or there is no advancement, or there is no salary raise. So there's always gonna you always need to have a handful of people that you know that can help you out. And for me, thinking about how to determine what is your dream career. When you're driving, you need to know exactly where you're going, right? This is just an analogy. If you don't know where you're going, you're thinking, okay, I know how to drive, I'm going to use that skill, and then you're just driving nowhere. So sitting down and knowing what you are going to, that is going to help you plan for the future. So assuming that you want to get a job that is going to pay $100,000 a year. It's just an assumption, right? So the best thing to do is to know your skills, exactly what you know, how you know, what exactly you did, what exactly you're doing, what skills you need to sharpen. And then think about careers that actually can be utilized those skills. So let's say you are good at computers, you know how to fix computers, you know how to troubleshoot, then you might be suitable for being an IT. Some jobs do require degrees, but some don't. So you can just see how it can work out for you. In New York, there are so many companies, maybe like 100 plus companies, 1,000 plus companies that hiring positions that you want, and they don't ask for credentials. You might be qualified for those positions. So working in a place in New York, maybe if you are not in New York, maybe you are in your own country, think about how many companies out there
that actually need to fulfill a position, and it's not posted online. You will have to figure it out. And how do I suggest to figure it out? Is calling career agencies, recruiting agencies. Recruiting agencies and staffing agencies have a list of jobs that are needed to be filled, and they don't have time to go and post it on the website, or they don't have a budget to go and post it on the website. So the best way is just contact them through social media. I've seen one on Twitter, I've seen on LinkedIn, I've seen on Facebook. Those staffing agencies are out there seeking candidates. So for you, whatever, and they have specialties. So there is a staffing agency for accounting. There is a staffing agency for IT. There is a staffing agency for teachers, educators. There is a staffing agency for management. I remember I had a staffing agency. I was 19 years old, and I thought I was applying for a job, and it actually was a staffing agency. And that staffing agency, a recruiter, had asked me if I have experience in management, and apparently he had a specialty for hospitality management, and my degree was in hospitality at that time. So he was fulfilling positions for restaurants, chains restaurants, for supervisor position or manager position, regional, senior, district position, all kinds of high-level positions. And I accidentally fell into it because I was looking for a job in a restaurant, of course, but in a supervisor position. And he got me a job in an instant. He told me where to go, and he told me who to speak to. And I just needed to bring a resume, and that's it. His recommendation on behalf of me was sufficient enough for me to get hired. Yes, I was interviewed. They asked me so many questions, but the position was paying me $3 more than I was working elsewhere. Was it $3? It was actually, it was $3 more than I was working in my previous job. And I wasn't expecting that. For me, it was just, looking for a job. I was hating my old job, and I wanted to work for somewhere else. I wanted like a higher position, titles. This is the problem. In US, we all are looking for titles. We're not like thinking straight about salaries. So I wanted a title, and I wanted to have a title of a supervisor. But I was hired for manager, and in that manager position that I was hired, I didn't like the hours. And they knew that to fulfill that position was very hard. It was very hard to find a candidate who was willing to come to work at 4 a.m. So since I was single, I didn't mind, but 4 a.m. till 1 p.m. was a little bit a stretch for me. So they, without me even asking for a raise, they sat down with me after 3 months, which was the probation time, and they decided to give me a raise, I guess, for me to stay. But that was like an unusual, odd situation. But I did stay for 9 months, and then I quit. I couldn't really handle that schedule. But my point here is a recruiter is always going to be on your side when they are referring you to a manager. They are always going to say good things about you. They are always going to tell you like hints. They are going to tell you, okay, expect this from this director, expect that from that supervisor. Make sure you know to bring up your qualities, the best qualities. And basically, this is what's gonna help, because if you don't, you're gonna do like the average person does, which is just going online and uploading resumes and then waiting weeks and weeks and months and thinking, what is wrong with my resume? Because it can be not just your resume, it's just not gonna work. I had a problem. I had indeed I had applications from Indeed. Okay, and from that Indeed applications that I had like about maybe 10-20 of them on my desk, and I couldn't really get into one of them because not because their resume was off, like wasn't right. It's just I had to go on vacation. Okay, and then there was a holiday. A Jewish holiday was Passover, so it's like what, a whole week. So I took about 3 weeks off from my vacation. So why you as a candidate might think, oh, how come nobody calls me? Like I don't have time for that. You understand? And then after that, I'm like coming back from vacation. I'm still on my vacation mode, and then it's another week passes by, and then it's May, and then I just decide, okay, in the next month I'm gonna start having my coffee and I'm gonna start calling one by one. And the worst part is calling a candidate and that candidate is not picking up the phone, is not calling me back, or the voicemail is not active. And then, you're missing that opportunity because I am already calling the 15th person and that I already have set a schedule. I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. About 5 candidates each are going to come on that day. I already forgot about you. And when you decide to call me back 2-3 weeks after, I already don't remember you. I already don't know you. And I say, I already hired someone. So that doesn't work. If you have a recruiter will explain to you, okay, this is now, I'm going to have your resume by me. Call me back in 2 weeks if you don't hear from the director. Call me back in a week if you don't hear from. They are there to guide you, to support you. And this is the way it is. If they find that you are not the right candidate, then they're not just going to call you. But as a savvy job seeker, you might want to follow up. Keep following up 100 times if you need to, until they remember your name and say, you know what? I remember that person. A new job has just opened up. I'm just going to refer that person to them. And you get a job just like that. So I'm going to take a short break. I'll be right back. So stay tuned with me.
Found a place to celebrate? But wait, you are missing a sweet table. With fancy desserts and a menu full of items of your choice. Call 347-265-5063. You can have a sweet table as if you are a celebrity. Quality worth every penny. Order from New York Artisan Bakery. Want to win your party? Call 347-265-5063.
So I want to emphasize about today's topic. Today's topic is resume important? And how is it important? So I believe that a resume is very important. It's very important that it looks very professional. And also a resume is especially important for career crisis. And a career crisis can really trigger a moment that you can say, I hate my job. Should I just quit? And before really quitting, you should really consider, am I ready for being on board for job searching? Am I ready for not having the exact tools that I have with me? Am I ready to be an average person and go through that job searching again for months and months and months? Seriously, if I see that a candidate has applied for a job, applied for so many jobs and is on job search for 6-7 months, something is not right. You are not doing something right. You might say,
my resume is all good. Yes, it might be good, but go to a recruiter and let them figure it out if it's good or not. And then or go to a resume writer, or even come to me. Let me take a look at your resume and let me see. I had people even message me on Facebook and told me, Sarah, I'm looking for a job endlessly and I don't know what is wrong. And I say, maybe your resume is not right. And then they say, no, my resume is perfect. And I said, let me take a look at it. And when I take a look at it, it's not really perfect. The dates are off. Nothing is chronological. Your resume is like a page and a quarter. It can be a page and a quarter. It's either a page full or 2 pages full. It cannot be a page and a quarter. It just doesn't look right. It just causes distraction, seeing white space. And then I say maybe your LinkedIn profile is not right. As I know, like a manager one time, a CEO actually, I was referring him some candidates, and he was just Googling them up to see what is happening, checking their Facebook profiles, checking their LinkedIn profiles, and he didn't call them. And I would say, why? He would say, it doesn't look professional. I don't want this person to represent my company on social media like that. I want somebody serious, somebody professional, somebody understands what branding means, somebody understands what reputation means. And yes, it's your personal profile. Keep it personal to your friends only. And there is actually on Facebook privacy that's called, it's either your friends only, acquaintances only, public only. So you don't want it public if you don't believe you are actually representable. Sometimes I have friends requests. Mind that, okay? I have friends requests, and I'm just going on their profile before I say okay. And when I see, for example, their profile, it's about dogs, cats, or about their hobbies, and I'm like, it's not what I need to see. I don't like to see this post. It's like looking at commercials every single day. It's like, it's not what I want. So I don't friend request them, and people don't understand why I don't accept their friend request. Your profile is not professional. I only connect with professional people. That's how managers do. That's how directors do. That's how CEOs do. And staffing agencies really would like to know more about your skills. So hone that skill and make sure that you have what you need. Now, I know that a resume also, it's a piece of marketing tool, and that piece is essential for you because you want to make sure that you have the right strategy in your hand, like saying, okay, how will that person know about me? How will that person really utilize my skills? How the person will know I'm the right candidate? And the only way to do it is just writing your strength on your resume. And that I will share after this break.
You are tuning in to Let's Talk Careers with Sarah. I'm aired every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. In this show, I talk about career advancement, resume revamps, interview expectations, how to stand out from the crowd, how to brand yourself, and skills you need to become a CEO. All of this is on Armed Radio online show, Let's Talk Careers with Sarah, exclusively on TuneIn Satellite and the Armed Radio Network.
Okay, we're back. So how are you going to share your strength on your resume? It is just really the keywords. I am going to have those keywords posted on my Facebook page, Let's Talk Careers with Sarah, and you can actually see them and check them and then check marks for every time you use them. Those keywords are highlighting the strength. So if you have the strength, great. If you don't, then you skip it. You go to the next one. And that's essentially not only your resume will have it. It's just when you are applying on online, those keywords are going to be attracted because the same keywords are on the job description and on the qualifications. So that will be an essential tool for you to use. You can share it with your friends, you can share it with your families, and this is something to think about. If you are struggling with something else, if you feel that you are not doing something right and you want to hone your skills, I can create courses for that, but I just need to know how many people are going to register for it. So if you feel that, then that can be worked out. You just need to message me on Facebook, Let's Talk Careers with Sara, and you can join my group, Let's Talk Careers Inner Circle, and then we can chat about it. So that's the main goal. Now, cover letters. I have spoken numerous times in my previous shows. So if you missed it, you can go on my page, Facebook, Let's Talk Careers with Sara, and you can hear the recordings. And I have a lot of content on interviews. Interviews are really essential. It's about your body language. It's about your tone of the voice. It's basically presentation. How are you presenting yourself? The most frustrating is when I have somebody talking to me and I don't understand what you're saying. Like, you do speak English, but you have a mumbling voice. And it frustrates not just you, but it frustrates me as well, because you have to repeat yourself several times because you are not speaking clearly. Even my kids, for example. My little one he talks English perfectly. He was born here. But he's mumbling like I can't understand. So you have to practice recording yourself and then figuring it out. Can you hear yourself clearly? If not, then you have to take some lessons. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he had a problem with his accent. Nobody wanted to hire him because they did not understand what he was saying. It was really frustrating. The communication skills right there just breaks it all down. He took voice lessons to reduce the accent. He wanted to have a job, so he just wanted to be an actor, and he was inspired to just move forward and not have anything on his way. So he took voiceover lessons. You have so much tools on YouTube. You can just get some lessons on YouTube and just practice those voice lessons. It's going to help you. And also, I learned when I took voice lessons, it was mainly for you want to read out loud a book, and that will really help you speak clearly. And that's what I like to do. I like to read it out loud, really, any book, and it helps me. That's why you hear me clearly when I speak. Even doing group presentations in school, they wanted me to be the speaker because I spoke clearly. So having an accent is one thing, but to speak clearly is another. And there shouldn't be any excuse for that, saying, I don't know how to speak clearly, I'm very timid, very shy, I'm afraid to be on stage. It's just you have to. You are presenting yourself. You will be clashing into people who are speaking highly, and they want to hear, and they want to present you as their company. So you can't just thinking, I don't need to work on myself. It's not what I want to do. I'm taking another short break, and I'll be right back.
You are tuning in to Let's Talk Careers with Sara. I'm aired every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. In this show, I talk about career advancement, resume revamps, interview expectations, how to stand out from the crowd, how to brand yourself, and skills you need to become a CEO. All of this is on Armed Radio online show, Let's Talk Careers with Sara, exclusively on TuneIn Satellite and the Armed Radio Network.
So, having said that, having a voiceover lesson is really essential, and it's really going to help you, not just for the job, it's just in life. We need, all of us, I'm saying as we need to work on ourselves, work on our skills and abilities in order to make us better. So some have problems with communication. They need to take communication lessons. Go on YouTube, learn about it. Some have problems with sales. Go on YouTube, learn about it as much as you can. Some have problems with writing. Get some writing courses. Read books. Go on to the library and read books about writing, about grammar, about figurative language. Some have problems with whatever that is, classroom management. Go and take a book and learn about classroom management, classroom strategies. So many things are out there in your finger of your tips. Go even onto the website and read about it. Watch some videos. Learn, and learn. You might say, I am very successful and I'm very good. Don't stop there. Continue learning. Continue really getting yourself better. Don't say, okay, the most frustrating is having a candidate saying, I have a degree. I have a bachelor's degree. I'm done with school. I don't need to learn anything. And that's it. I have a master's degree. I'm done with school. I don't need to learn anything. And that's it. Imagine you have a doctor who have finished his learning in school about 20 years ago. Okay? Or maybe even 10 years ago. He finished his school. He's not working. Imagine your doctor is not continually teaching himself new things, because now has different technologies, different systems, different ways of treating people, different medicines. If he doesn't learn this currently, if he doesn't take a book, if he doesn't go to conferences, if he doesn't go to make himself aware of what's trending, he's still in his old-fashioned way. You don't want to go to that doctor, especially a surgeon. You don't really want to be. I haven't seen a doctor who is not constantly teaching himself new things. So he has 10 years of learning and he still learns. Same thing with you and me and everyone else. We are constantly need to learn new things to hone our skills. We have to be on trend. We can't think old-fashionedly and say, okay, I learned this 10 years ago. I don't need to learn anything now anymore. It's not. Grab a book, watch videos, read newspapers, learn constantly, and know that this is possible for you to be better. There should be no excuse whatsoever that you are not good at something. No excuse. Write down your weaknesses and start working on them day by day. Sales, for example. Sales techniques are always new out there. You need to learn how to handle objections, and then you need to learn how to do follow-ups, and each objection has a different strategy. So I read books mainly about sales. So for me, it's needed to know. We sell gossip. We sell information naturally, right? And nobody will say no to the gossip. Everybody wants to hear gossip. So look, you're selling information. But for you, same thing is going to be something else. Let's say you're learning about teaching and you want to learn more about child's development. I was amazed about a teacher who knows how to handle a special need child. And she wouldn't get frustrated. She just knows how to handle a child. And she would constantly read more about special need children. She would constantly need more about their behavior management. She would know what is triggering that behavior. And she would actually go and teach others. So this type of teachers, everybody liked, even the parents, even the directors, even like everyone else. Why? Because she was habitually going out there and making the best she could. Her goal was to make a difference in a child's life. So your goal should be something similar to that, to make a difference in your family's life, in your co-worker's life, in people that you're surrounded with.
I am running out of time, so that will be another topic we'll discuss in my show perhaps next Wednesday. And I would like to say thank you for those who are listening to me. Thank you so much for doing your homework, by listening to experts like me about jobs, about resumes, and about how to be happy in a work environment. So I really want to say thank you again. So I'm going to see you next Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Armed Radio. Let's Talk Careers with Sarah.
You are tuning in on Armed Radio and Let's Talk Careers with Sarah every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. I talk about careers and job hunting. If you would like to ask a question or would like to hear about previous shows that you have missed, you can find me on Facebook at Let's Talk Careers with Sarah. You can learn about jobs, tips, and advice on my page. If you have a career-related question, you can just message me on Facebook.